Okay, so in the final question on the paper, we need to write as a single fraction in its simplest form. So in order to do this, we can't add or subtract fractions unless the denominators are the same. So if you think about if you had 1/7 plus 1/3, we'd need both the denominators the same, and one way in which we could choose what the denominator could be is multiplying them. So the denominator could be 21, and we'd make both fractions have a denominator of 21. So in this one we're going to do something similar, and I'm going to multiply them. So I'm going to make both denominators x minus a for both of them. So for this one here, I have multiplied this fraction by x to give it this denominator, so I need to do the same to the numerator. And I'm subtracting the other fraction, which is being multiplied by x minus a, so I need to do the same to the numerator. So now I can subtract them. So I've got x take away all of this, x minus a, over x minus a. So I've got x take away x, which is going to give me 0, and I've got x take away minus a. So if you think about it like this, we've got x, and then we're taking away x, and then we're taking away this minus a. But if we're taking away a minus a, that's the same as adding an a over x minus a. X take away x is 0, so we've got a over x minus a. So for the next one, we need to solve the equation. So in order to solve this equation, we've got x minus 1 over x 4x plus 3 plus 2 is equal to 0. So to begin, we only want x's on this side, so let's start by taking the 2 to the other side by taking 2 off each side. So we have x minus 1 over x 4x plus 3 equals negative 2. Now I want this not to be a fraction, so I want to multiply both sides by x bracket 4x plus 3. And I'm doing that to both sides, which is going to give me x minus 1 is equal to minus 2 multiplied by all of this, which is going to be minus 2x multiplied by 4x plus 3. Okay, so now I don't have the fraction. I want to expand these brackets. So I've got x minus 1 is equal to minus 8x squared minus 6x. So this is now starting to look a little bit like a quadratic. So if I take everything over to the left hand side of the equal sign, we can start solving this quadratic. So I'm going to add 8x squared to both sides. So I will have 8x squared plus x minus 1 is equal to minus 6x. And finally, I can't solve this until this is equal to 0, so I need to add 6x to both sides, which is going to give me 8x squared plus 7x minus 1 is equal to 0. So this is now a quadratic that we can solve. So 8x squared plus 7x minus 1 equals 0. So we're thinking of two numbers that multiply to give minus 8 and add to give 7. So we have 8 times minus 1, because 8 times minus 1 is going to give me minus 8. 8 add negative 1 is going to give me 7, so those two are going to work. So we've got 8x squared plus 8x minus x minus 1 equals 0. So we've broken that 7x into 8x and negative x, and then we're splitting it down the middle. And we're factorising each side. So I have 8x on the outside and x plus 1, and then minus 1 on the outside, x plus 1, and that's equal to 0. So when we've got this fully factorised, we have x plus 1 and 8x minus 1 is equal to 0. So finally we need to solve. So either x plus 1 equals 0, which would mean that x equals a negative 1, or 8x minus 1 equals 0, which would mean 8x equals 1 and x equals an eighth. So these are my two solutions for x.